Salutations everyone, this is Razor bringing you guys another Mercy Watch video because we're still in the Mercy meta and we need to talk about her. So the nerfs to Mercy did not go to the live server as many people were predicting slash hoping, but we did know that Blizzard said that this was going to be an ongoing thing with the Mercy changes, and we hadn't seen an additional change in the PTR since. But, you know, let's talk about Mercy and the possibility of balance within this character, because this is a very, very delicate situation. We don't want Mercy to be where she was in the old Mercy 1.0 days, where, you know, people were just lurking in the shadows, not healing their team, not doing anything, and just trying to get play of the game with a triple or quad or penta-res. And, you know, just completely, you know, erasing the cool thing that the enemy team did. But we also don't want her to completely rule the meta as she has continued to do ever since the Mercy rework. And a lot of people have, during the last nerf to Mercy thought, oh my gosh, they ruined her, blah, 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 and she's still the most OP character in Overwatch history. She was definitely at her strongest in the first Mercy 2.0 PTR patch, you know, when the blaster was like a lot faster and did more damage and stuff. But still, the way that she is now and the way that she is in the from Bronze all the way to Overwatch League is just completely ruling the meta. She has the highest pick rate in all of Overwatch League. And is super duper dominant. When there isn't a Mercy on the team, it's not gonna go well for your team. I've had to play Mercy more so than any other character by a lot this current season. And I don't want that. I don't want to play any character, you know, more than half of all of my matches. And I'm not doing particularly well with her. My win percentage with her is like 49%. But I feel like I have to because, well, A, it's matchmaking, therefore no one ever picks healer. And B, if you're not using Mercy, then you are basically throwing because she's just so overpowered. I know, you know, just having a Mercy doesn't mean you automatically win, because, well, I mean, A, the enemy team's probably going to have a Mercy, but, you know, there's a lot of factors that go into Overwatch where, you know, you can't, like, carry like you can in other video games. This is much more of a team game, but what Mercy can do for a team by herself without any help, without any synergy, without a ton of mechanical skill is just a completely on another level from what any other character can possibly hope to do. I'm not saying that Mercy needs to become a difficult character to play, not mechanically as demanding as, say, Ana, you know, if we're talking about other healers. Mercy being easy to play is perfectly fine, and I think, you know, pretty important. She is the second most played character in the entire game overall, behind Genji, and a lot of that has to do with her ease of use and the impact that she can have on the team. She can heal better than any other healer in most circumstances, in most team comps, consistently. She easily can output the most healing, because all you have to do is click and it'll, you know, track your teammates, and you can fly away and live longer than other healers, and you'll be fine. And you can just keep on healing, and then you get your Valkyrie, and you can do a ton of healing, and you can resurrect people. Resurrect is so imbalanced on the face of it, because nothing in the game can come close to what Resurrect does in its current form. Back then, you know, it was only an ultimate, so you wouldn't see it that often, even though, you know, Mercy has one of the fastest charging ults in the game. I believe it's probably the third fastest. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but it's one of the fastest charging ults in the entire game. It's obviously easy to do when you're a healer that can heal better than any other healer. You're just going to get a ton of charge. But obviously, they could change that if they wanted to on how many points it would take to charge an ult. But with Mercy, with the current Mercy that we've had, you know, the Mercy 2.0 from, you know, the start to what we have now, is wholly imbalanced and has ruled the meta for a good reason. She has two ultimates now. You know, they didn't change her damage beam or her healing beam or her guardian angel or anything like that. They just changed her ult by giving her two of them, one of them on cooldown every 30 seconds. They did, you know, reel that back a little bit by giving it a casting time. But if you take a look at the stats and say, you know, the Overwatch League, people who play the best in the world, between like 33 and 35% of all teams' deaths just get resurrected. And that isn't all off of Valkyrie, because that's going to be only 2 reses. So you can still do it every 30 seconds. And Mercy ain't exactly the easiest character in the game to kill. And Res, on the face of it, is super imbalanced because nothing else can come close to doing what Resurrect does, whether you know, it's an ultimate or not. Obviously, giving her the res as an ability, as well as 2 reses when she ults, she can get a lot of resurrects out. Now, when it comes to Transcendence or Dropping the Beat or Coalescence, they can't do any of the things that Valkyrie does. In order to get the maximum amount of potential from those ultimates is to get perfect timing and your team grouped up. With Valkyrie, you don't need that. You don't need perfect timing. All you have to do is hit Y or hit Q or whatever you have it bound to, and you can res 2 people, you know, without any startup time at all. That's just 2 free reses. Plus, you get 20 freaking seconds of chain healing and or chain damage boosting. It's better than Transcendence and Orisa's Bongo Drum because she can do both. And she can do it for 20 seconds, and she's not going to be as vulnerable as a bongo drum while she's doing it. It's just completely insane, and she could get 2 reses off of it. That just by itself is super duper overpowered. If you don't have this ability, which is one of the fastest charging in the game, you are throwing, because that's a super imbalanced ability to do insane amount of healing, insane amount of damage boosting, and get 2 reses, and be super duper hard to kill. There's nothing that could come close to that into the game, so you can understand why her pick rate is so high across so many levels of the game, and why if you don't have a Mercy, you aren't really helping your team as much as you could be, because just with Res and Valkyrie, that will win team fights. If you have Valkyrie and the enemy team doesn't, you just win. We see that in Bronze, and we see that in Overwatch League. It's just so much of an overpowered ultimate that it carries team fights, it carries teams, and it carries games because both teams are using her, because she's just so powerful. We shouldn't have a character that is that powerful and is that impactful and that easy to use, that, you know, mechanically easy. That's just a give and take that we just can't have in the game, and we've seen what that's done to the meta. Obviously, if you take Mercy out of this spot, some people have said that her ult should be charged in a different way, or that res should be charged in a different way based off of how much healing is done. And, you know, resurrecting is part of her character with what she did with Reaper and Genji, but it definitely needs to be brought down to earth super duper hard, to where she isn't a must pick in so many different levels of the game. She can still be impactful. Pharmercy will always be a useful duo and combination to use. We saw Mercy in professional Overwatch play before she got Valkyrie, and we'll see her after, but she needs to be brought down. No other healer can do what she does, and no other ultimate can come close to doing half of the things that hers does. And that's what needs to be changed. If you take Mercy out of this top spot, yes, we will see a rise in triple and quad tanks, and we'll see less Widowmakers and McCrees, because they won't be as necessary to take care of Mercy and what she brings with her. So from a spectator standpoint, people might not be too happy about that. But the sheer amount of power that she brings to the table is completely imbalanced, and this definitely needs a change. And if Blizzard can take the time to do it properly, to where she can be competitive and useful in the healing position, but not completely dictate the meta, then that's what we need.